You are watching The Morning Show on Fox with Dan Gresham, Melissa Daigle, James Ware, and meteorologist Dana Melanson. This is The Morning Show.
7:24 now on a Tuesday edition of The Morning Show. Can I share a little insight, a little story with you real quick? About 29 years ago, when I came to work in December at this location, at this station, I met this woman who was already working here. Her name was Karen Hayes, and in fact, she was doing a reporter, and she also did the noon show. And she worked with us for many, many years, and things evolved and life went on. And it's interesting because this morning I get to talk to Karen Hayes Chapman as a whole different role this morning. She is now at the McFaddin-Ward house. We do go back a long way, don't we, Karen?
We go back such a long way that these weren't around, and this technology is fascinating. I'm plugged in by my phone. It's so cool.
I didn't even think about that. When you were reporting, it was just kind of at the mercy of the camera guy.
It was. I think I came in right after film. I mean, tape was interesting.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's so nice to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
So tell me, what is your role now at the McFaddin-Ward house?
Actually, I retired from KFDM a couple of years ago, and the first thing I did was volunteer at the McFaddin-Ward house because I've always thought it's just so cool, so historical, and so in the community. And it worked its way somehow just recently into public relations coordinator. So I get to be here every day, and they pay me a little money.
I like that. I like that. And you still kind of get to dabble in what you know how to do.
Dabble. If they need somebody to walk over and give a tour, I'm available because that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
I like to pretend like I live here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. For those, we took Melissa yesterday, came with us for her first time to see the house, and I think she was pretty impressed. I always say it's such a treasure that so many people miss. It's right there in front of you, but if you don't go, you don't know at the McFaddin-Ward.
If you don't go, you don't know, and it is one of the hidden treasures of Beaumont, and I just would love to invite everybody to come, and it's not just because I work here, but right now is a wonderful time to visit because the house is filled with Christmas things, much like it may have been decorated when the McFaddins lived here. And Dan, I don't know if we talked about this yesterday, but I don't know if you knew, because I just found out last week, they really try to be historical about these Christmas decorations. We have diary entries, we have journals, we have cards, letters, things that the McFaddins and Mrs. Ward wrote through the years that kind of described what was going on in the house. For instance, you know, we gave a dinner party, and I'm going to take you into the dining room because it's just so pretty, but Mamie may have written a letter to someone saying, and I use the such and such china, and we use the such and such plates. And our curator, Sam Dallio, really tries to be historically accurate about that. And I'm just impressed with that.
It's beautiful. So, I mean, I'm just standing here looking at the lace tablecloth. I'm just like, wow. I mean, but for those who don't know, Karen, a little history. I mean, this was among, if not the richest family in Beaumont, right?
It was, and the family, before they got the larger amounts of money, had money already because they had cattle and owned land, and they had the land that the Spindletop Gusher blew in on, and of course that made history for them and for the entire country.
Right.
So, yeah, that's when things really heated up, and we're just so fortunate that Mrs. McFaddin-Ward, Mamie, decided to make this a museum and share it with all of us before she passed away.
So the date the house was completed was what? Spindletop comes in 1901. What, 1906, something like that?
Yep, 1906. And actually, Mamie's parents, Ida and WPH, WPH had a sister, and she's actually the one who built the house first, she and her husband. And for whatever reason, we don't know, they traded with the McFaddins, and that's when Mamie and her two brothers and her parents all moved in 1906. And
it's beautiful.
Here we are.
Yeah, and we're gonna look at some of the other rooms, but again, Karen has taken us kind of into the dining room, but it's all decked out for Christmas, like Karen said.
It is
Authentic to detail of what it would have probably been from
It is.
1906 all the way through the last days of her life when she lived there. And Karen, we'll come back and talk some more. I think I stole some of our time, but I had to tell on Karen because, again, she's been a friend for a very long time. Friend of the station for 30 years now, working here in Southeast Texas. We're proud of what she's done. It's time for us to take a break. 23 now, past the hour of 8 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. You know what they say, right, about news people? Old news people never die. They just go into PR. We have a case in point this morning. Karen Chapman joins us. She spent years here with us at KFDM TV, part of our family. But now she is representing the McFaddin-Ward house. And we're delighted to have her with us this morning, joining us for the first time, as far as I know, doing a television piece for McFaddin-Ward. Well,
Absolutely, I think so, yes.
I'm glad you're doing it on our show. This
Dan,
is where...
what PR would you go into? When you, if you ever retire, what would you do?
I would go and do the personal reduction business. PR would be the only PR. I have no idea. Well, we used to always joke that was the dark side, right? Oh,
Yeah,
don't go to the dark side, but there are a lot of folks
No,
there.
sales was the dark side.
Well, you visited there too, so yeah.
Yeah, I was there too, so.
How long did you work at Channel 6, Karen, before you retired?
Actually, with both stints, probably 28, 30 years,
had to be
a long
close to that.
time.
Yeah, a long
it was
time.
my family. You were my family.
Yeah,
you were my
we
brother.
are family. Yeah, we will be family forever, I guess. But it's good
Forever,
to see
that's
you.
right.
It's good to see you in your new role this morning. And you've gone to such a great place. It's one of my favorite places in town. I think they probably will tell you. I like coming over there. I think people are missing out on knowing their own history if they don't go to the McFaddin-Ward house and the carriage house, and we could go into all the details about the house itself. But this is moneyed Beaumont. I mean, there's no doubt about this.
Yep.
At the time that they lived in that, I would think it would be fair to say they were among the 1%, weren't they?
They were in the 1%, definitely, and I guess that's part of what makes this place so special, because not everybody had stuff like this.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, the family and Mamie McFaddin in particular setting up the foundation has just been so giving to turn this into a museum and let us all have a look at it.
Yeah, and thank goodness they preserved the house, because so many of the structures built at the same time with this same kind of detail were destroyed through the years.
They were. Actually, you're right on, Dan, because apparently a lot of people were tearing their houses down for whatever reason. When they passed away, maybe their kids or heirs just went on their own way, but they were tearing them down. And Mamie McFaddin-Ward said, I don't want my home torn down, and I want to preserve it. I want to preserve this history and what my mom and I purchased and put into the house, and that's what she did. And of course, at Christmas time, we just go all out and decorate it, and we have some events like an open house. We have a free movie night coming up Thursday. It's a Wonderful Life, and we've got, I'm sorry, shameless plug. And then next week we have or Saturday we have an open house, and then the next week we have an eggnog evening, and everybody's welcome.
Wow,
you
that's
come
cool.
in, you can look at the house. Yeah.
And you know what
Eggnog
else?
evening.
You know what else I would add to it, Karen? You know, if you're one of those people out there that you love watching like HGTV, you're into like Fixer Upper or the flip shows. You want to see craftsmanship. You want to see the way it was done the old way. It's the woodwork in this house. The detail.
It's amazing.
Is just astounding.
And we're still learning things about. In fact, where Kevin is pointing up there, one of those fell off the wall one day. This was before I got here, but in doing that, unfortunately, didn't fall on anything or break anything. But we were able to see what it's made of, and don't ask me, but what it's made of and what's on the inside of it, because we're not going to go chop it off. But I mean, we're learning something about this house every day. They're still cataloging everything because it's a museum, and everything has a little number in its catalog. Your son worked here. He did that. Zach did that.
Yeah, and so again, I want to remind folks that it's open to the public. You can come to. I have to call ahead. What are the hours?
On these events, absolutely not. The free movie Thursday, doors open at 6, movie starts at 6:30.
Okay.
The open house this weekend is 1 to 4. The eggnog evening is 5 to 7. If you have questions, call 832-1906, because that's the year the house was built.
I love
or
the fact
finished.
that it always helps me remember 1906, the
Yeah.
address, 1906, the
Yeah.
phone number, that sort of thing.
That's
Karen,
it.
it's always a pleasure. Love to see you. Congratulations on the new job. We look forward to talking to you
Thanks.
in the future. You bet. Karen Chapman, again, over at the McFaddin-Ward house. It is 28 past the hour of 8 o'clock. Up next this morning,